Welcome, kings and queens. I am Queen Sheba. I cover a variety of hot topics specific to reality television, but most importantly, I hone in on the behavioral and the psychological traits of the Black experience. Today, I'm sharing a Dear Abby letter. Yep, you heard me right. A Dear Abby letter to the one and only Carlos King. Dear Carlos, with the anticipation of the return of Love and Marriage Huntsville next week, my question to you is, where do you go from here? Let's get into it like we always do.
This is not a drill. This is not a drill.
It's fucking Dineva.
You came here for some tea.
Keisha, it ain't no way to slice it and dice it. Your mama messy as all hell. You complicit in your silence.
And that's
what
not
it
true.
feels
And
like.
I understand it.
At what point do you say, Ma, if you don't stop, you can't come around no more?
I know you better not agree with him because I done said it 1,000 times.
Monica, she was my wedding planner.
Well, what was her reason for quitting at that time?
Her and Martel, they have something going on. I think she's always been around as someone that he messes with here and there.
The lady who helped with their wedding, Melanica, she could have told Mel. Martel was messing around back then. Kimmy mentioned that she went to lunch or something with your ex-wife, and she was telling her, you and Melanica have something going on currently.
And we haven't been sexual since high school. Why we gonna be sexual now that you married and...
Who cares?
Like,
You
yeah.
ain't married. You a single man.
I am.
And they can't check for me for whoever I sleep with. Period.
I haven't talked to Marcel, but he's made a few comments.
Marcel was at this motel.
Me and this friend went out to dinner.
Who was with you?
Me and Chris Fletcher.
It was about 2 hours.
Oh, this
Maybe. It was at least about, what, 22 hours the other day? You know?
So we know about what's going on. How many other people have you told? How many friends are aware of what's happening right now?
This part is my choice.
Your hair is cute.
It's super cute. We're gonna get through this.
Dr. Francis been helping me change.
Well, good job. You keep going to Dr. Francis.
And I think you should go too.
Because of what?
Because you see you're gonna do it for me.
No, because then Dr. Francis, he makes you a better wife.
Me pointing the finger at you for things you weren't doing, well, I should not have. I shouldn't have pointed at myself to be a better person within our marriage.
I receive it.
Ooh, that's what's up.
So it is true. You and your new boo all over the vlog.
She's sexy as hell.
Oh.
We've been talking for a little over a month and a half, so you know.
Hell, you know we soulmates. You know we meant to be together.
Girl, you gotta see me for me to want you. I don't want you.
I don't care.
All right, so you've just seen it. You've seen the trailer to Love and Marriage Huntsville, and it's giving exactly what it's supposed to give. That's the drama, toxicity, heartbreaking moments, the continuation of breakdowns of friendships, family, and community. There has been, and there seems to be, these common themes that Carlos King sticks to, and that's women suffering. The women suffer, the men prevail. Why is that? Even the moment that he's featuring with Kimmy this season, it's a very heartbreaking moment. And I'm not saying that he shouldn't show it because it's real, but it's heartbreaking. That adds on to the theme of women. In the realm of Carlos King, where Black women can't seem to catch a break. There's betrayal, there's a lack of responsibility, accountability, and it's almost like anything goes with these people. With the exception of Melody, Carlos, where did you find these people? This show is the perfect example of what happens when you cast a bunch of hillbillies that ain't never had nothing. They're disruptive, and it's cute and funny now, Carlos, but it won't be when it tears up your legacy, when the viewers stop tuning in because we've become tapped out mentally. So again, my question stands. Dear Carlos, where do you go from here? Let's talk about Melanica, a self-proclaimed talent manager. But yet, we see you in this trailer bragging on national television about sleeping with a man. Number one, a man who's your client, whom you very much seem to be, quote unquote, still infatuated with. And I place a heavy emphasis on, quote unquote, still infatuated with, because ain't no way in the world you could pay me as a married woman who honors my marriage, the reputation of my husband, my family, and my brand to go on national television and talk about my past indiscretions. What do you stand to gain? Then you doubled down in the clip and you said that you're grown, and if you want to sleep with him again, or you hinted at that, then that's nobody's business. Sister girl, are you married or is you not married? Because that would be your husband's business. But you know what? According to you, you're happily married. Clearly, Martel was embarrassed. And it took him a second to recover the look on his face, because he didn't want anybody to know about that body count, that late night creep, especially when his mistress, Ariane, is running around here calling women who are built like you, Melnika, linebackers. Oh, he won't live that one down when it comes to them and when they argue. Not only that, you make yourself come off as untrustworthy, because not only did you sleep with Martel, but girl, you cozied up to his wife. You planned their wedding. Girl, that's some single white female type of shit. Yeah, Melody was right when she said you wanted him then. You were mad that you gave him access to your body and he didn't choose you. He used you. And to keep it real, I don't believe it was only once, because you don't have that type of energy when it's just once, as you said when y'all were teens. No, ma'am. That was more than once. And your feelings would not allow you to move forward with the wedding planning. So you dipped out a week before, and your mama knew you were wrong, so she stepped in to pick up where you left off. Oh yeah, you were big mad. And it's kind of weird too, because you got close to Melody. And you even shared that you got her hired on where you worked. And I'm guessing it wasn't because you liked her. Now that you're talking, right? And you're putting it out there. So now I know it wasn't because you liked her. It's because you wanted what she had, Martel. Which is why we got to be careful. Ladies, you got to be careful about who you bring around you. Seriously. If this is not a telltale sign of the people who are in your circle plotting. But anywho, this is why I seriously question Martel and Destiny's history. Now we know what he's about with the women around him. Melody mentioned something to Destiny about her questionable relationship with Martel and the way they engage and interact with each other. I know she mentioned Martel popping up over Destiny's house whenever he felt like it. Even Martel said he and Destiny talk all day, every day. Okay. As grown women, we know what that means. Why does he have access to you like that when his wife is supposed to be your friend? Girl, Destiny, get out of here. Bye. Speaking of Destiny, please go. Just go. Carlos, dear Carlos, why is she here? You would have done better by keeping her ex-husband, who is a legitimate business owner and seems to be doing well in the community. He would have been a much more interesting storyline, and we could have followed his personal journey post-divorce as a business owner and a single father. Now, that's one we haven't seen before in reality television. That would have been a different spin. That would have been a good spin. Destiny has nothing to offer but lies on top of lies on top of lies. She limits details. She loves to play victim. Nothing is ever her fault. She takes no accountability, and she's always looking to scam folks out of money by way of a quote-unquote sponsorship. Hell, what exactly are they sponsoring? Because the trip you gave to Kimmy and Maurice, girl, was a sponsorship prize that you got from somebody else. Make it make sense. Where's your money, sis? Why are you giving away prizes that you won in the past? Carlos, you could have picked any broke scammer in America. Why this one? She doesn't pay her employees. She's constantly trying to pull Melody in as a storyline. And she has a horrible attitude. So again, my question stands. Dear Carlos, where do you go from here? Let's talk Martel. He can go. He can go like yesterday. And we don't care nothing about him breaking down because this is his only salary. I don't care. He should have thought about that. He didn't care about this being his only salary when he was showing his behind and terrorizing Melody the past 4 years on national television. He didn't care about this being his only source of income while secretly recording his children and sharing it for the world to hear and see. That'll never go away. That will never go away. So we don't care. We're not saving dudes. We're not coddling grown-ass men that get on the internet and act a plumb fool. We don't care, dear Carlos, that you find him attractive and hot and you like his suits. He needs to go. Let Bravo and Sheree deal with that. So, dear Carlos, where do you go from here? Marcel, I'm tired of this one. How many times can we see him insinuating or us just gathering that he's clearly cheating on his wife? And he has been quite some time, according to both Martel and Miss Wanda. That's it. That's all he brings. We don't care about Black. We really don't. Hell, Peter Thomas did a way better job with his Bar 1 locations, highlighting that. How come we don't see Marcel and Tisha filming their homes since she wants to taunt Team Wife so bad? Show us how you make a house a home, girl. Show us some of those buildings you're claiming to be building, Marcel. And we don't want nothing that you've orchestrated for a scene. We need documented contracts. We need start to finish projects. And we need real life stuff happening. Or better yet, you should have taken us along to that so-called mental health trip that you took to Africa. Child, at this point, the Scots need to go. I can do without Marcel and Tisha. With all due respect, I can also do without Kimmy and Maurice. Maurice, ain't nobody ever seen you work. Ain't nobody ever seen you work, for real, for real. Kimmy, I don't recall seeing you work. My apologies if I missed it, but I don't recall seeing you in a professional role, professional manner. I am definitely wishing Kimmy a successful healing journey on her road to recovery. I don't think at this time the show would be good for what she's going through. You got to be stress-free to beat something of that caliber. And also, we're not tuning in to see Kimmy mediate or play a mediator between the girls arguing. That doesn't make good TV. Tisha, nothing's changed for you in the course of the past 4 years that we've seen you on the screen. There's been no evolution, no elevation or progression. Carlos shared on one of the reunions, he asked you to step it up. So I guess your idea of stepping it up was to incite and fuel heat on Melody? Okay, so you popped up at an event looking to fight, talking about you heard somebody was looking for you, so here you go. Okay, bravo, bravo. Yes, it gave you a moment. But what next? Of all the ways that you could have stepped up, the only thing that popped in your head was to compete with Melody. Girl, that is crazy. Did it never occur to you to show up, step it up, and show us how you boss up? Invite us into the real work that you supposedly do? Did it never occur to you to double down on what Marceau said when he said you owned an apartment building and then sold it? How come you didn't show snippets of you selling to an investor? You know why? Because allegedly it was a horrible complex. It should have been condemned. Yeah, you don't want us to see that. You were probably embarrassed to show a dilapidated building on the show because you're bragging about that's the kind of business you do behind the scenes. Show us that building. Let us be the judge. Tisha, your husband is still emotionally and mentally abusing you. When a man that quote unquote supposedly love his wife and you're flaunting team wife around and you're saying that y'all are happy and all of this, right? When your husband takes 2 to 3 weeks to go to Africa and ambushes you so that you can have little to no emotional reaction, like I forgot that man's name. He told you no. He planned this. He may have told you last minute. Baby, he ambushed you. That's emotional abuse. That's emotional manipulation. And you know what makes it even worse, Tisha? The reason why I said you need to go, you're not a really good example for Black women or young girls because you're pretending that it didn't bother you. And that's sending the wrong message about what healthy and loving marriages look like. And every one of us know that it bothered you. And the fact that you can't sit in it, right, and say, that bothered me, and say that on national television, you're not ready. You're not ready. So you save face, you put on, and you act like your family is now thriving because your husband traveled to a different continent alone. If your family did in fact benefit from your husband ambushing you, giving you little to no time to have an emotional reaction with him planning a mental health trip to Africa, if y'all benefited, then please show us on the show how you benefited from him doing that and why. If you actually benefited, then why is he still refusing to go to therapy? Why is he refusing to showcase himself in a different manner? You said he's healed. We want to see it because that trailer says otherwise. But I know why. Because it's a lie. It's a lie, Tisha, and you know it's a lie. You're hurt. You're not feeling good as a woman, as a wife. But you would rather lie than say that. And actually, I have to give Marceau his credit. He's pretty smart because he's not pretending to be something that he's not. And you know why he's not pretending? Just in case he gets caught. Just in case he gets caught. How come we don't see your family go on vacations or him interacting with your children? Because he doesn't want to show that just in case his shit comes out about him seeing allegedly other women. Chris Fletcher hinted at it. He says, that man was with me for 2 hours. He has 22 hours in a day. Tisha, come on. Come on, babe. This is not what you want to be remembered for. What do you bring to this show that any other successful, happily married Black woman couldn't bring? This ain't it, Tisha. And the only thing that you have tied to you is a misogynistic husband and a hellhound of a mother. It's frustrating to watch a woman like yourself suffer and then try to fool us into thinking that this is the epitome of happiness, of a happily married woman. And then you double down and you try to embarrass Melody from walking away from an abusive marriage. Something you probably wish you could have done, but you can't. You're not setting yourself up for success. You can't leave a man like that. And I'm not telling you to leave your husband. That's not what I'm saying. But you couldn't even begin to if that's what you wanted to do. Because you haven't started to work and build a level of esteem and financial stability outside of him. You'll always be held captive. So again, my question stands. Dear Carlos, where do you go from here? All right. The scotch should be out. Or replace one of them as couples. So I think a great replacement, I really do. The more I think about this and how well he showed up in his cameos, I think Chris Fletcher and his family would be a great addition to the show. Now, here's the problem. Chris is a successful businessman in real life. And according to Dr. Heavenly, when she talked about how Martel called her and how she believes that Martel is plotting and planning and scheming to get on Real Housewives of Atlanta because OWN doesn't pay as well as Bravo does. So when you think about a Chris Fletcher and how you would need to up that ante in that budget, Carlos, you probably can't afford a level of a Chris Fletcher. So what I looked at, I did my research, okay? I think OWN's salary minimum starts off at $20,000 per season. Bravo starts out at $60,000 per season. So when you think about the $34,000 that Martel shared, that's why you don't talk too much. You talk too damn much because you put your business out there. You really weren't making a lot of money each season. $34,000 between he and Melody. He got 17, she got 17. So that was like a really kind of not a lot. That's not a lot of money for a season when you have the girls from the Real Housewives of Atlanta minimum salary $300,000 per season. So I think Chris Fletcher would be a great addition. However, he's a real successful businessman, and you're going to have to pay that man in order for him to kind of put some things aside and what he does in real life. He has a beautiful home in real life. We saw it on the show. He put in a lot of work to repair a breakdown in his marriage in real life. And you know what I like about him? That's a man, because he doesn't allow Marceau and or Martel to intimidate him at all in real life. That man gonna say what the hell he said and move the hell on. He said what the hell he said at that wine launch when Martel showed up unprepared, and like he said, hey, you know, Marty. When Marie said, oh, Marty, no, Chris said, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. And also when he said, don't put me in that, basically on the trailer. You spend 2 hours with me. Don't use me for a storyline. I like those kind of people. Bring them on the show. He holds their feet to the fire. He keeps a safe distance from them publicly as well. And you know why? This tells me he has too much to lose to be associated with hillbilly behavior. Successful folks don't have time for that ghetto-ass behavior. They don't. Sorry. No offense to anyone. They don't have time. Tiffany and Louis, you got to go. I don't care for Tiffany. I think she's a snake. I think she's very strategic, but whatever. I like Louis, but they bring nothing to the show. Stormy, kudos to you for building an empire, but you're not a good fit for the show, in my opinion. In my opinion, Stormy plays it too safe for reality television. You got to pick a side, boo. You don't have to beef with folks, but they got to know where you stand when the ish hits the fan. And guess what? Nobody knows where you stand. Based on that alone, you're not a good fit. And that's why the viewers attack you, because you haven't picked a side. And you're saying, I ain't got to. Yes, you do. See, and that's another thing. You can't bring everybody into these realms, Carlos. They don't understand how this stuff works. Sweetheart, you have to. For the success of the show. Even with the Real Housewives of Atlanta, you know where those girls stand when they're not getting along. You see the alignments when there's drama, and they stand 10 toes down with having their friends back. Now, when it's time to play and have a good time, they put that ish aside and they show up to make the show successful. And that's why you're not a good fit, Stormy. You don't understand how these things work. Dear Carlos, recast all of them. Leave Melody. I need to see Melody operate in different circles. The reason why they attack her is because she's the only successful one. So naturally, they're going to go against her. There's an imbalance of hillbilly and success. You've got to find other successful African Americans to place in the ring with Melody. Replace the other ones. Then you're going to get a different energy and a different vibe when there's more success in the room compared to struggle, envy, and jealousy. Then we need you to showcase more Black excellence, more honorary moments like they do on Bravo. Bravo understands the need for drama, but they never miss a beat, Carlos, to ensure those queens are elevated in all that they do. They show it. They show Kenya Moore getting her hair care line placed in CVS. They show Candy's dungeon tour. They give Portia her show. They show Sonia filming her fitness line. They show Drew with her fitness workouts. You don't do a good job of that, Carlos. Primarily, you bring about 90% of drama. You're imbalanced. We need you to step up. We need you to do better. We are worn out physically, mentally, and emotionally.